Alrighty. So big news in the NFL world for the Chicago Bears, trading the number one overall pick to the Carolina Panthers and a big move up from 9 to 1. Bears moving down from 1 to 9. The full trade package right here now though is Panthers get the number one overall pick from the Bears. Bears get everything else though. Bears get the ninth overall pick, second round pick, 61 overall, I think, a first round pick next year and a second round pick in 2025, and star wide receiver DJ Moore moving over to Chicago to become the Bears wide receiver one. We've been needing a wide receiver one, Daniel, and we finally got that. How are we feeling about this trade?
Very, very good. I don't know where the Bears were going to go with this. All the talk, as soon as they got the number one pick, all the talk was about them, just like what they were going to get, the generational haul. I don't know if the haul is generational, but we most definitely got walked away with a sizable outcome. I'm not mad at it at all. It serves a lot of needs, and we still have a top 10 pick in this draft, and we got our wide receiver one for the future. He kind of fits the timeline too, so knocking out a lot of things with one stone, actually, in one move. It's hopefully the start to a long, great offseason for the Chicago Bears. But bro, A plus move.
Yeah, I don't know what the other trade packages were. I mean, those probably won't come out, so we'll never know, honestly.
Yeah.
But for what we got, this is definitely like I would have taken the deal as well. You too. DJ Moore is the cherry on top, honestly. Even if we got those four picks and didn't get DJ Moore, you could consider still taking the deal, maybe throwing a couple more picks in there. But we officially got a number one wide receiver as a top priority this offseason. Brian Poles, Bears GM, finally came away and got us one. Huge for Justin Fields to get that as well. And we still have a top 10 pick this year, so we don't completely just like kick ourselves out of these top players like Jalen Carter, who could hopefully fall. That's reports that he will fall, but I don't know if he'll fall that far. That seems pretty steep, dropping like 8 picks. He's arguably the best player in the draft, so it's kind of crazy. But getting another second this year too, that's huge when we're trying to talk about defensive line help and offensive line help, so that's huge as well. And then also another first round pick. So Bears did just an amazing job with this pick. But who do you think the Bears should take with their ninth overall pick?
I mean, if Jalen Carter does not fall that much, I don't know how much whatever's going on with him hurt his draft stock, but probably some offensive line help. One more piece definitely could not hurt. We were pretty decent line, pretty decent rushing team. We had an okay line. But you can never go wrong with more line help or another defensive player. Will Anderson's probably not going to be on the board either. He's definitely a top 5 lock for sure. So, I mean, there's that defensive end. That guy is huge out of Iowa. I mean, if he fits our build, go ahead, draft him. But I want to draft based off of fit. I want to draft based off of like name and potential, because we could have like a crazy good player, and if he doesn't fit our system, we'll never really get to see his talents utilized properly. He just won't be good for our club. So I just want us to take our time, make the right pick for who we need, who fits our culture, and just continue to move on from there, bro, because we have a lot of options and a lot of things we could do with this pick. I just want to make sure it's one of our best moves, or our best move, hopefully. And just move from there. So now I feel like we get to kick back and kind of just, really have our own pick, because I don't think we were looking for anybody at the top of the draft anyways, all the names they were looking for. So we can really fully scout this draft. We have a ton of picks this draft. Outside of just pick number 9 too, we can pick out sleepers. We have 2 second rounders. By we, I mean the Chicago Bears. Me and E were fans.
It's we.
Yeah, it's
we.
we.
It's we.
But yeah, bro, I mean, I don't mind. Number 9 overall, I don't mind. It has to be a fit. I'm not really big on taking. I know a lot of people want to see JSN go to the Bears, Jackson Smith and Jigba from Ohio State. They want to see another receiver on the Bears. We just made a lot of plays for receivers. I want to see how they look on our team before we take them, before we invest something so valuable like the number 9 overall pick. We could have addressed like, other issues on our roster. I'm not saying I wouldn't mind JSN. If we take him, we take him. You feel me? But yeah, I just want to draft based off based off of necessity.
Yeah, so personally, I would want JSN kind of have like a Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase kind of feel with it. Justin Fields has already got chemistry with them. He's already got the feel with them as well. Another offensive line is like our biggest need too as well though. So we've done a lot with the wide receivers, like with Chase Claypool. I feel like we could have held off on that and maybe kept the pick.
Yeah,
and
we
then,
would be lit.
And
That's
then
basically a first rounder.
Right, because then if we drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba, then it's like, okay, like that's a great move because you're not wasting picks on wide receivers, which we kind of did that with Chase Claypool. We basically spent like a second rounder on him.
And he had maybe like 200 yards or less for us the entire time he was actually here.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of the trade, but that's neither here nor there. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. But I mean, it was aggressive. I mean, you gotta like respect the aggressiveness from the Bears front office because I mean they haven't done this in a while. When they are aggressive, they make wrong moves. I mean, with the Mitchell Trubisky trade drafted one up. I mean, that's like an example I can.
There is no excuse for that. We will not excuse that.
but offensive line help as well. Another teammate that was at Ohio State, Paris Johnson Jr. from Ohio State, and Peter Skoronski. Arguably the two best linemen in the draft. I think drafting one of those two as well would be really good for our team just because this is like a proven year for Justin Fields. I mean, you need to get everything around him, like maximize the potential around him to be able to see like where he actually can get to, because all the talk about Justin Fields is like speculation still. I mean, he didn't have enough talent around him to be able to do much besides run with his legs because one, the offensive line was trash, and two, wide receivers weren't getting really that open besides like Darnell Mooney. Pringle's getting open a little bit, but like not consistently. Like you need top wide receivers to be getting open to be able to have some threat, which DJ Moore does for us. But I think offensive line, and if not offensive line, then I would like to see Jackson Smith and Jigba just because that could be another one wide receiver. I mean, other teams like the Bengals got two number ones with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Chargers got it. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. Chiefs did have it with Travis Kelce. You can argue he's a wide receiver, and Tyreek Hill. So I just think like having two like almost number one wide receivers, Dolphins, Tyreek Hill now, Jalen Waddle, see what they did. So those are like the two main things that I would do if I was the Bears with the 9th overall pick. I guess another like aspect of this, let's move to the Carolina Panthers side of things though. What quarterback they take, and clearly you don't go up those many spots and give up all that capital to not draft a quarterback. So who they taking, you think?
Number one overall, it only makes sense if it's Bryce Young. I feel like he's been number one overall the entire time in most mock drafts. Unless Anthony Richardson, they just want to go Cam Newton 2.0 and they want to pick Anthony Richardson. That would definitely blow some minds. But I feel like it's Bryce Young. He's kind of just been the consensus number one overall pick the entire time. Or they felt the need to gut their entire team and trade up for somebody that would have been there probably at number 9. And we just don't know. Like Will Levis or Levi's, I forget his name.
Levis.
Yeah, Will Levis. If they check in with number one overall pick, so be it. They felt the need to. But yeah, I think Bryce Young. It's pretty much the easy answer.
To me, it's an easy answer because it's not Bryce Young. I think it's CJ Stroud.
I mean,
CJ Stroud. I mean, you have to look too. Bryce Young, I'm just worried about how tall he is and how big he's like 190. That's how much he's like.
But
190 right
he still went and played in the toughest division in all of college football. Like, there's talks of some SEC. They're talking about some SEC teams being able to play in the NFL. The talent level on the SEC is different.
Well, and the people that are saying that are not. They don't understand the NFL. I mean,
but
it's
still,
totally different ball game.
The guys Bryce Young was playing. He's been playing against. I think he started at Bama for 2 years, right? Or we've seen him for 2 years, yeah. And the guy's been legit all 2 years or so. I mean, the size has never been a problem.
because he's never had an Aaron Donald coming at him. He's never had a
Aaron
Myles Garrett
Donald
coming
is.
at him.
I mean, if we want to
He's
talk
never had
about
Myles
size,
Garrett, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa coming at him. He's never had any of those kind of cats coming at him.
I'm sure he's
that's
seen
just
some
the truth.
elite defenses.
He's never had Sauce Gardner guarding up on his number one wide receiver. Not even having a number one wide receiver. He doesn't have a number one wide receiver. He doesn't have anything, really.
You can't really knock him for not making it to the NFL. I mean, he's just not old enough yet. He's not really been there. But if we're gonna talk about in terms of the talent level he's faced, this guy's just been playing elite teams, elite prospects pretty much his entire college career, probably his entire life for all I know. I don't know him past college football. But we're just not going to act like Bama doesn't bring out the best in everybody. We're not going to act like that. Or we're not going to act like this guy wasn't... this guy's a top 2 lock for a reason. You know what I mean? And the height, no one's even considering the height. They're talking about
considering it. They're considering
they're
it.
talking... When you talk about the scouts and they're talking about the draft interviews, that's what I'm trying to say. The draft interviews with Bryce Young... They're talking about him being able to dissect coverages he hasn't even seen yet or played against in college. He's just doing this naturally. So I think Carolina, they probably made that play to move up to draft Bryce Young. But to me, I think there's no question about Bryce Young's playing ability, even without the height, with or without the height, because we see guys like Drew Brees able to get it done, Kyler Murray able to get it done, Russell Wilson able to get it done. Bryce Young is going to be no different, really.
You bring up Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray's scared to get hit because of how small he is. Kyler Murray takes hits and he gets injured a lot. So
I don't think anybody
guys,
wants to get hit by a 6'6", 300-pound D lineman either. I think
no, but the ones that can take it can take it. Josh Allen can take it. Justin Fields took it.
Josh Allen is 6'6", 220 pounds. Justin Fields 6'3", 220.
That's why I feel like CJ Stroud, I think he's like 6'4" or something like that. I mean, he's bigger, he's stronger. He might not have like the brains as Bryce Young, but if you're a coach, you can teach your guy how to think on the field and the coverages and stuff like that. I think CJ Stroud could like stick in there longer than Bryce Young can.
I agree with you. I think he's a better prospect, but in terms of just what I've been seeing of reports and stuff like that, I do think that the Texans are fine with CJ Stroud at number 2. They're kind of cool, but for some reason it seems like Bryce Young is the guy to make a play for in this draft. He's kind of just been surrounded by all this hype. I'm not saying I don't see it because I think he's a great player, but I guess there's just a different level to him. There's something about that guy. He's got the it factor or whatever. Maybe it's because of the competition he's played or what he's shown on the biggest stage. I'm kind of sad Bama they didn't end up making the playoff. I really do feel like that would have catapulted him, cemented him as number 1, Bryce Young, because that guy. I hate Bama. Anyone knows me, I don't like Bama, but I say there's certain Bama players that earn my respect. Derrick Henry, he earned my respect. Bo Scarborough earned my respect. Pat Surtain earned my respect. Bryce Young is one of those elite guys that earn my respect. Julio Jones earned my respect. Bryce Young is among those caliber of players. Jalen Hurts, before he got booted out, but still, I think he's among those names. And the guy's just elite. The guy's just got it. Yeah.
Another aspect too of this is that the Carolina Panthers hired Frank Wright as their coach, former Colts head coach. He likes bigger quarterbacks. Carson Wentz was a bigger quarterback. Carson Wentz was like 6'4" too as well. Phillip Rivers was a taller guy. That plays into a factor too of what a quarterback or what a coach likes in their quarterback as well too. I'm not saying that Bryce Young can't do it, but it's definitely more riskier. I mean, with Tua, he had 3 concussions this year. He's a smaller guy. So if you trust in his ability, regardless of the height and stuff like that, then yeah, you do it. But you just understand you're putting yourself in a very sketchy situation with one hit and their career could be done because of how small and how much they weigh too as well. So I mean, everyone's just up in the air too as well though. No one's a home run slam dunk besides probably Jalen Carter and Will Anderson. So
and they're not even going top 2. They're not.
No, they're not the quarterbacks. So that's the most important position in the league. So I guess they have 40 days. Carolina Panthers have 40 days to decide that. I've heard reports that someone think Bryce Young should be the top quarterback, and Others are saying CJ Stroud. So they got 40 days to decide that.
I'm seeing
And
reports they might even trade the number one overall pick. I don't know how true that is considering how much they gave up, but it's
that
kind of
would be the
crazy
most
to me.
ridiculous thing
Yeah.
ever. But yeah. But we got 40 days to speculate and see these reports. And Carolina Panthers are on the clock, though.
Yeah. Major plays all around the league. Jalen Ramsey, no longer a Los Angeles Ram, got moved today to the Miami Dolphins for a third-round pick in tight end. His name Hunter Long? Hunter Long?
Sounds like an NPC if you ask me.
Yeah. Madden auto-generated player. No disrespect, Hunter. If you start turning up, you become a Pro Bowler, all pro. It's because of me. I just want to say. But this return for Jalen Ramsey, bro. Ethan, go ahead. Take it away. Say what you got to say. Yeah. ISO. Let me clear out.
Alrighty, so people who don't know or whatever, I got connections to LA. Obviously, big Lakers fan. Family out there knew the late Dr. Jerry Buss for over 25 years or whatever. That's why I'm a big Lakers fan. Rams went back to LA. Was like, all right, be a Rams fan over there. Hop on the bandwagon. Bears had been trashed. So I was like, all right, I gotta make a switch. So it became the Rams, and we obviously won on this up and down roller coaster. Went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots, lost that, traded Goff, got at Stafford, and just did all these trades and stuff like that. And Les Snead said, "Bleep them picks. You can fill in the bleep." But regardless to this trade though, I mean, I knew it was gonna come eventually. Jalen Ramsey, you can just tell on the sidelines, he's been wanting out since probably like middle of the year. I mean, I don't blame him too. This team completely just fell on its face after winning the Super Bowl. Worst hangover I've ever seen from a Super Bowl team. It was just ridiculous to see. A lot of that had to do with injuries too, though. But like, still, you can't fall on your face completely that much. Jalen Ramsey going to Miami for them. I'll talk about Miami first. I mean, perfect pickup for them. They're letting go of Byron Jones, bringing another one. CB, number one CB, top in the league, arguably. Those practices with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Jalen Ramsey going to go crazy there. He goes back to the Sunshine State in Florida. Perfect move for them. Only giving up a third-round pick, too, as well. Hunter Long, I don't think they really needed him. I don't even know who that is. I'm sorry. Sorry, Hunter. I don't know who you are. But back to the Rams. I feel like they could have gotten more for this pick for Jalen Ramsey. But it just goes to show that they were willing to take a third-round pick for him, that they wanted him out of there. Not because he's like the bad character guy, just because they're so depleted on everywhere else that they can't afford a salary really if they want to like spread the money out completely, and they don't have any picks. So they need to take as many picks as they possibly can. Dolphins took advantage of it, and they snatched him up. I find it hard to believe that no other team would give you more than a third-round pick, though. I find that hard to believe. Or maybe they were just doing Jalen Ramsey justice and being like, hey, you want to go to Miami? We'll take a third and we can get that deal done. And boom, they were done with it. So maybe that was the case, but they could have gotten definitely more. But what do you think, Daniel?
I think, like you said, with the third-round pick, I think it shows how ready they were willing to get rid of him. Or, yeah, they're running this to get rid of him. They don't have any picks, like you said. They're kind of just under the water right now. And whatever you can recoup, because I feel like they were just ready to lose him for whatever. They were just going to let him walk in free agency. So, and you put it in perspective, this is better than nothing. It sucks that it had to come this way, especially what he achieved and what he did for your club, all that stuff. Very impactful player. Yeah. That's huge. They hadn't had a ring since Kurt Warner? So
I will say though, he was getting cooked in the Super Bowl by Jamar Chase.
But that's because he was playing injured the entire season. He was playing injured the entire year. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll give him credit, but I'm just saying he was getting a little cooked.
He was.
But I'll let you finish.
But yeah, Jalen Ramsey on the Dolphins. He's alongside Xavier Howard now, so that the CB duo is gonna be pretty lethal. Going to be very lethal. Added to a star-studded defense. Bradley Chubb's on that team too. Their line is solid. They got some playmakers on that defense, bro. Their backers are pretty solid too. Linebackers, like me and Ethan, we were sharing the text convo yesterday. He said linebackers are low key the most replaceable positions in the league. I kind of agree, but they got some difference makers on that roster, bro. In all the positions, they could really make a title run for this year, and I think that's what this move was. They're trying to stack up on top end talent because if you want to beat a juggernaut, you have to have some juggernauts on that team. So they're loading up. This draft for Miami is going to be pretty big too. They gave away a third rounder. I'm not too sure if they have a first or second rounder. They don't have their first, right? They got to take it away.
Hill.
Yeah, it's Tyreek. So pick up somebody good with their second. And if they somehow landed a Bijan Robinson, it's not happening. That's kind of just my fantasy going crazy, but they would be unstoppable. They just need that. There are not too many playmakers away there. They don't even need playmakers, really. They're not too far away in general. So, very big move for Miami. Only a third rounder and a tight end that's not even a starter for you guys. Sign me up for an All-Pro or a Hall of Famer, eventual Hall of Famer. Yeah. I need more of that. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
The Rams too, they're shipping everyone out.
Yeah.
I mean, they let go of Bobby Wagner. They just signed into a contract and they just dropped him. There's reports too that Allen Robinson is seeking a trade for a trade partner, so they gave him he requested to look for a trade and they gave him that request, so he'll get out of there too. Weird reports of Matthew Stafford being on the market too. I mean,
they came out and declined that.
Too.
I want to ask you that real quick. Do you think you should get rid of Stafford or not?
I mean, what are you gonna get? What are you gonna do? You can't get anything for him unless it would be to get first round picks for next year to just tank this year to go get Caleb Williams. Having Caleb Williams stay in LA, plays for USC Heisman Trophy winner with Sean McVay. I mean, I would do that, but I don't think Sean McVay is coming back to just completely tank for another year. He was reports that he was gonna leave this year, but he came out and said, no, I'm doing this year and I'm like gonna do next year as well, so this doesn't keep coming up of like, oh, I'm leaving the Rams or whatever. So good on him. He's staying here for hopefully immediate future, maybe long haul. We'll see how it goes, but how long this rebuild maybe takes. But I mean, the Rams are just selling. They're selling team. They're selling everyone. They don't have they might sell Cam Akers too again. I mean, who knows? He was on the trade market during the season, didn't get traded. So, but it's crazy. But back to the Dolphins, I think this officially takes them out of the Lamar Jackson race too.
Yeah, definitely.
If they were ever in the race, because
you need
as many picks as you can to go get Lamar Jackson, which
then they came out and said Tua is their guy. They came out and they accepted, or they held up the last 2 years of Tua's deal. So he's staying. Yeah,
they signed his 5th year option,
yeah,
so he's staying. This trade also just means that they believe in Tua and they're investing in him. They invested in him so much that they're willing to spend only a third and Hunter Long to go get arguably the best corner in the league. But last thing I'll say is I think it's good that the Rams sent him to the AFC too. Don't keep him in the NFC. Send him to the other conference. I mean, that's the conference of champions right now, basically. So NFC's in poverty right now, besides the Eagles and 49ers and I guess the Cowboys, since they're arguably the 3rd best team, just because of how poverty it is.
The Eagles are falling off. You see how many free agents they have.
They kept I think they're keeping Fletcher Cox. I think they signed him to a deal.
But it's like 7-8 guys that are huge.
They lost both their They lost both their coordinators too. So we'll have to see if Nick Sirianni's actually that guy. You lose both your coordinators. I mean, Sean McVay's lost. Right, Sean McVay's lost his coordinators. Andy Reid's lost coordinators. Like Bill Belichick's lost coordinators. So we'll have to see how that turns out for them. I think there'll be a little bit of a slump beginning of the year next year at least. Always the losing Super Bowl team's always in a little bit of a slump. Bengals started out in a slump this year. They were like 1-3 or 1-4 or whatever, but picked it up. But that's all I got to say on the Jalen Ramsey thing. I mean, you just got to bite the bullet sometimes, and the Rams had to do that. So that's all I got to say on it.
I agree. You said it better than me. Bite the bullet sometimes. It's for the better. That's how I felt with the Bears trading Roquan, Khalil Mack. We didn't even get a first round pick for Khalil Mack. We traded him for a second to the Chargers. Chargers didn't even you saw what they did in the playoffs. to the Jaguars. You see? So the grass, it might not always be greener on the other side, but there's tomorrow. The Rams don't recover from this. It kind of just looks murky right now. But after this draft, I feel like they're going to have a lot more direction. I don't know if they still have their first round picks. Do they? When is that?
Nope,
When did they get their pick?
I think it's either next year or the year after that. But the Lions have their pick this year from the Matthew Stafford trade. So yeah, because the Jaguars had it for 2 years, and then Lions had it for I think 2 or 3 years, and then I think they get it next year or the year after that. But they're trying to restore some draft capital, and we'll see what they can do. They don't have a choice. So I wouldn't say no to trade Matthew Stafford if it's for first round picks next year that could lead to Caleb Williams. That's the only way I would want it though. Baker Mayfield too is getting reported. That's reported that he's the Buccaneers are interested in signing him. Hopefully, I kind of want to keep Baker just in case Stafford does get hurt. It's not like a lost season completely. I think Sean McVay and the Rams liked him too. I mean, he came in there 36 hours after getting traded.
Won a game.
On a game-winning drive to go. I think it was against the Raiders. The Raiders on Thursday Night Football. Game was insane. Honestly, it was one of the games of the year. I mean, for how bad the teams were, it was honestly game of the year. But yeah, it's we'll just have to see what the Rams can do and hopefully recover from how bad they were this year. It's officially March. It is March 12th. Selection show just happened. Baylor is in the tournament.
Yes,
University of Missouri is in the tournament in the same bracket in the South.
It's lit. It's
definitely
lit.
Gonna see each other in the Sweet 16, hopefully. But early predictions on who are threats to win the championship in Houston this year, Daniel. Who do you think are some threats?
I'll tell you what. I'm not the biggest college basketball advocate. I'll be honest. But one team that actually I've seen highlights of them, and I like their player a lot. Brandon Miller. I like Alabama. I think tight knit group. They got elite players. They just got a good personnel to me. I don't know if I'm biased though because Brandon Miller, I just like his game a lot, and I'm sorry to do that to you too. I know you're not the biggest guy. Yeah, I'm sorry, but
we lost them in the semifinals of the SEC tournament a couple days ago. I'll let you finish, but I'm obviously going to Missouri, so I've seen all SEC basketball play. I've seen Alabama play a number of times this year. We played them twice, got dropped off the first time. Hung in there the second time, but we still lost by 12. But yeah, Brandon Miller's that guy. But yeah, I'll let you get back to your thing.
Houston, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why Houston is good at all. I don't know what players they have. I'm sure they have a lot of veteran guards or just vets, upperclassmen. So maybe they can make a run too. But I'm not gonna be surprised if there's some early outs. Purdue's whenever they're ranked high, they never really get anywhere, in my opinion. So I'm not sold on Purdue. Gonzaga, you always got to count Gonzaga in. Somehow, some way, Gonzaga's going to do it. Marquette too, they're a decent club as well. So, but my favorite, I think Alabama's going to, go all the way. I think they're my favorite.
You're picking Alabama to cut down the nets?
I want Baylor to go all the way. Me personally, I want Baylor to go all the way. But the way we've been playing lately, man, back-to-back losses to Iowa State, I'm not convinced that's going to get us to the promised land. I'm not convinced that's going to allow us to cut down these nets. So I think Brandon Miller is going to go all the way. I think he's just got a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to do it. Hopefully Keontae proves me wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, so Tuesday we'll give you guys our full bracket breakdown and stuff like that. You guys can join it as well. We'll probably put a link in there on Tuesday or whatever to join our ESPN Tournament Challenge or whatever, but we'll have our brackets up. We'll go through it all. That'll just be our March Madness episode or whatever leading up to it. But the best teams, last year I picked Kansas to win. They won it all. So I mean, I was right there. But top teams, I think, to cut down the nets are Kansas for obvious reasons. They Wilson is just unbelievable. Grady Dick,
Oh, Kansas.
dude
Yeah.
is a dude
How could
has
I
an
forget?
absolute Grady Dick is an absolute cannon of a heater on him. He is just unbelievable. I mean, we played him early in the season here at Mizzou, and they were up by like 25 at us at half. I mean, they were just unbelievable. I mean, we had a sold out crowd there too. They didn't care. I mean, they're experienced too as well. Bill Self, he's won 2 national titles. He'll get those guys ready. Um,
Yeah, Kansas
another
is
team
dangerous. My bad.
another team I like too is I like Marquette too.
Mm.
I like Shaka Smart up in Marquette. They've been historically good at basketball. I know they had Dwayne Wade over there and stuff like that, but they haven't been to like this level till this season. They're a 2 seed this year. Their path, I like their path too as well to get to later in the rounds. I think they play Vermont first round. I think they would win that game easily, but then they would play Michigan State or USC. I still think they would win that game. The only real threat in their bracket would be like Duke,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't play Duke till like round of 16 or round 8 or something like that.
Duke's
But
not
Duke's
really all
been
that
hot.
this year. Really?
No, Duke. No, they got hot this year. They won 9 straight games. They won the ACC tournament. They
Hmm?
beat Virginia.
Oh,
Duke's
yeah.
been going crazy. They've like literally like changed like
Out of
drastically
nowhere.
within.
They were
like,
supposed to be
I-
pretty good at the beginning of the year. They kind of, disappointed.
they were
but
ranked. They were ranked 7th this year, or preseason poll. They were ranked 7th, but they dropped down a little bit. Obviously, it's gonna happen when you got a new coach. You don't have
Mhm.
Coach K in there anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just growing pains. But Jeremy Roach, he was a big player last year. He's a big player. He was injured a little bit like middle of the season, but he's come back strong. Their freshmen are playing well too. I mean, Kyle Filipowski, I think is the name
Yeah,
as well.
he's legit.
He's arguably their best player. I mean, he's a center, freshman too as
Freshman,
well. He's averaging
mhm.
15 points a game, dropping. I mean, he's averaging like 30% from 3 as well. I mean, for a center in college, that's amazing.
Kid's a player. He's a hooper.
He is a hooper. I mean, he's averaging almost 9 rebounds a game as well too. His usage rate is 29.7 too as well, so he's getting a lot of time. Duke's got a pretty good path as well, but they're a 5 seed, so people are gonna kind of not really look at them too much. But I think more than ever this year, I don't know if you heard that, but yeah. But this year more than ever, I feel like 1 seeds like any 1 seed can get really upset. I mean, the last 5 tournaments, a 1 seed's won every year. So,
Mhm.
I mean, the last 5 years, a 1 seed's won. But I don't think that might be the case this year. I think there's a lot of 2s, 3s, and 4s and 5s that could make deep runs and go all the way to cut down the nets eventually. I mean, Duke would have to beat Tennessee in the second round. Tennessee's a 4 seed. They're trash. Mizzou beat them twice. We beat them on a buzzer beater. We beat them in the SEC tournament as well. Kentucky's a 6 seed. Kentucky's not good. Kansas State, they were projected to be like last in the Big 12, but they come on solid. They're strong. But the only threat I see for Duke would be like Marquette and Purdue, but more Marquette. I think Duke would beat Purdue. There's a lot of great seeds and matchups. UConn's come on strong too. UConn's a 4 seed now. Bringing it back to the Kemba Walker days when they were like in the Sweet 16 every year, it felt like had that big buzzer beater in the quarterfinals of the Big East tournament.
One of the
But
best moves I've seen ever.
I mean, arguably the greatest buzzer beater in college basketball history, besides the Chris Jenkins and Villanova, North Carolina title game. But it feels like everyone's kind of in the same pack too as well. Like Gonzaga's a 3 seed this year. They're not the usual 1 seed. They're not winning 35 games a year. There's a lot of teams out there, but I think Alabama, is a clear-cut favorite just because of what I've seen from them.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for the March Madness talk and, big Bears talk, big Rams talk too as well. But that was a little bit of a teaser for the March Madness show coming up. That'll be dropping Wednesday for you guys, with our full brackets, our full analysis on the teams, who's making the Final Four, who's getting upset, what are top tier teams that could go all the way and win it all, as you heard a little bit earlier, and what double-digit seeds could make a run and be Cinderellas this year. But that'll become Wednesday. That'll do it for us. Like, comment, subscribe, you on all that. Socials are down here, and you'll see pictures of them up here as well. Daniel will do all that for you guys. But yeah, we'll see you guys back here Wednesday.